Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the Holocaust story Operation Finale, which is about a group of Israeli operatives who go to Argentina to extract Adolf Eichmann, one of the last architects of the Holocaust who got away and escaped to South America. Now, the interesting thing that popped into my head that I absolutely loved about this film was Alexandre Desplat's score. Right when from the opening credits sequence of this film, the score is impressive, and I loved it. And I actually put some of the score on my Amazon Music like right after the movie because it's a really impressive score that really does help build tension and really elevate this film. Not a whole lot. The first thing that pops out in your head is the score. I don't know what that means for the rest of this film, but we're going to talk about it. I think the two big things that I want to talk about first are two performances in this film. I think Oscar Isaac really stood out in this film as a really charming and powerful lead for the film and was able to carry a lot of this film on his back. I thought that he was a very good choice for this. He is a very talented actor. I've seen him wasted in things. I was really disappointed with the lack of material he really got to work with when he was in X-Men Apocalypse, but I've also seen him in fantastic roles, even small roles like in Annihilation this year, but also being able to really carry a film like Inside Llewyn Davis or A Most Violent Year. But he really does carry this film, and Ben Kingsley really brings his A game in this film, as most of the time he does. He's a very talented actor, and as Adolf Eichmann, the two of them really have a lot of chemistry, and they both bring a lot of charisma to their characters and make them very memorable. And their interactions are probably the most interesting part of this film. Whenever you get to hear the two of them interacting with each other, which there's a decent chunk of that in the second act of this film, they really do get a lot of attention and really draw you into the film. Now, I feel like this film brings a lot of respect to the material. I've seen some historical films that don't do justice to what they're trying to talk about. Is this the greatest film about that's related to the Holocaust and stuff like that? No, it's not. This isn't Schindler's List, but this is something that at least shows a lot of respect to what they're trying to talk about. And it is emotionally resonant. There are parts where you really do feel emotionally for these characters and what some of these people have been through, and in general what Jewish people went through during the Holocaust, and it pays a lot of great respect to that. Javier Aguirre-Zorobe, I hope that I got that right, is a cinematographer in this film, and this is actually a really well shot film. I was impressed by the camera work and what they're able to portray with lighting and stuff like that. And Chris Weitz is the director, and I think he did a really solid job. I would say this is a very solid film. It's something that does a lot of things right. Does it do everything greatly? No. It doesn't really stand out as like a great film, but it's a very well done period piece. There's some awkward pacing. Like there's moments with those interactions with certain characters that are fiery with tension, but then there's other parts where it's just like, let's get a move on here, and it kind of doesn't really work all the way through. And there's a lot of wasted supporting cast, and there's a lot of actors in this film, and some of them have very small roles, some of them have larger roles, but some of the characters just have like, so one note, don't have a whole lot of fleshing out to do, except for like legitimately these two main characters, played by Oscar Isaacs, and then with Adolf Eichmann, played by Ben Kingsley. They're the two most interesting people in this film. Everybody else is kind of just there, and you don't get a whole lot to know about them. And honestly, there should be parts where this film should have been a lot more tense. I got this feeling a lot with The Zookeeper's Wife last year, where it did respect the material. Like this film, it was a well-made film, it was a solid film, but could have been a lot more tense, and I think that could have been improved upon by maybe a little bit more of less of a workman type of directing. And some of the storylines didn't work. There's parts of this film where I'm just like, why are we even here? And towards the beginning, it's a bit confusing with how it's setting up what's going on in the film. And this might be like a small thing to complain about, but the accents in this film are so unbelievably inconsistent. It's like some people are speaking with complete American accents, being Israeli. Some of them are Israeli speaking with Israeli accents. Some of them are Germans speaking with German accents. Some of them are Germans speaking with British accents. And it's kind of like, could you at least all get on the same page? It's kind of that Valkyrie feel where all the Germans in the movie had British accents, except Tom Cruise just spoke like Tom Cruise. And that kind of stuff, it's like, if at least you're going to be making something like this, and some people are going to commit to accents and some of them are not, at least be consistent. But overall, this is a very solid film, as I've reiterated throughout the review. I think it's worth seeing if you're into historical films. I would say go check this out. I took my mom, she absolutely loved it, and it does really hit home. And I would imagine that if you're connected to the source material, it does a lot of respect, and I would go check it out. But thank you as always for checking in with your Wasteland reviewer.